Anytime you hate another woman because of a man, you're probably getting played like her. Okay, if you haven't seen Love is Blind, that's okay. I admire you because I cannot get that time back. The reason why I keep talking about this show that I can't stand is because there's so many perfect examples to see what I've been talking about, like in real time or, whatever. Now, I'm not saying that Stacy and Johnny, who are the two girls that this dude, who is very problematic, were involved with, I'm not saying that they have no fault in this whatsoever. Of course they do. And I'm going to go into that. They both have a lot of decentering of men to do, and that's why, one reason why they are blaming each other. And honestly, I sometimes think that Johnny's probably more of the bully because I think this one was probably just minding her business. But this dude started it. And this is what so many men will do. They will get you to feel insecure about yourself by talking about their ex or another girl they're interested in the pods or whatever to get you in your head. And this dude's favorite thing to do was to talk about other women with this girl and Johnny. So let me just show you some examples. This is a classic triangulation technique. This is a classic I'm a super insecure man who will not deal with my trauma and will not, I'm terrified of being alone and of being abandoned. And so I'm going to get both these chicks to like me and hate each other so that they'll never hate me because they will be too busy hating each other, which is exactly what happened. And then he ended up basically making her look like a fool because in the end, what happened? These two get in a fight at this reunion. You call me that, whatever. And it made it look like she's the aggressive one. But you know what? I know passive aggressive women. I'm from the South. White women in the South are the most passive aggressive people I've ever met. Passive aggressive women, especially who have codependency issues, which Johnny does, oftentimes provoke. And then the ones who are more loud are like, bah. So I don't know. I don't care. But at the reunion, this girl, we spent a whole lot of time with these two women not liking each other. Meanwhile, she's forgiven this dude who sucks, who lied to her about his finances again and again and again and again and again, whose most romantic gift he ever gave her was a plunger, didn't do any of the things he promised he'd do, gaslit her, deflected, told her he had to walk on eggshells around her, told her he was super patient with her and kind with her. What else do you want from me? I do everything for you. Why can't you accept me? All the stuff, all the classic manipulation tactics of an insecure man. I'm not going to call him a narcissist because I don't know, but he's using very insecure, manipulative tactics that men who are very toxic and will ruin your life use. And then at the very end, when she said no at the altar and centered herself, he's like, well, you wonder why it's 33 so thing. Everything in his mind is about comparison. Right? I'm a nice guy. I'm a vulnerable guy. I'm not like those older guys who won't treat you well, who aren't emotionally mature like me, which is a joke. Even in the end, he's like, I'm 29 years old and I can give you everything, but not with a freaking rich guy. He compares himself to rich men all the time. Comparison is the name of the game here. And then 45-year-old men you always go down. So, like I said, either he's having them feel insecure because he's comparing them to other women or each other, or he goes into his whole shame spiral and I'm not good enough for you because he's comparing himself to wealthy men who have what he doesn't have. And after all the tension he created between these two women and all the fighting that they did multiple times, all the crap talking, they're still talking. She's still so mad at what's her butt, Johnny, still talking about it on her Instagram page. These two are still enemies. Guess what? This man who literally who pulled her aside at that party, that barbecue, and was like, everyone thinks you're sketchy as fuck. And basically tried to humiliate her. Just went in attack mode. Then he got her to get involved with it. And then after all that, it's oh my God, I'm just so grateful for you because, that girl sucks. She's like, you look shaken up. He's like, no, I love you. God, this dude is high. He's high off of having cut Johnny down, having to tell her how much she sucks. Any man that gets this much joy out of humiliating the woman who rejected him, you are not in good hands with a man who gets off on that. And a secure man doesn't need to do that in the name of protecting his friend Chris, who's now dating her. He literally did that because it felt good, because she had moved on. And he's like, I don't even care about them. That's why I can't stop talking about them. I don't care. And this is the umpteenth time this woman has told him, Don't compare me to her. She's had to draw this boundary so many times. Well, don't compare me to the mess. She basically calls him out on like him being a little too, she's annoyed that he's so excited about the fact that he got the last word in with Johnny. Anybody knows. If you don't love somebody, but you hate them, you still got feelings for them, or they're still in your mind. The fact that he's so upset about Johnny means he still wants her. Not even her, what she does for him, right? I don't think, he can't even love anybody because the man doesn't love himself. He's got too much religious trauma and all this baggage that he's clearly not dealing with because he's going to the bars every night and hooking up with women and hiding in flings and relationships. But yeah, he wants to get married to a rich girl who will take care of him. Remember, after his engagement 2 years ago, he's been on the dating apps a lot. It's hard to be a player. It's tiring. That's why he wants to settle down. Let's not forget that he also had a whole drawer full of lost and found of all the girls he's hooked up with. And even though he played dumb, pretended like it was just an honest mistake, that there was no ill will behind him leaving it there. No. Like the dude was making all this up in real time. No, I left it there. All of these little, trinkets like a serial killer. Hair ties, all kinds of stuff left over from women. Yeah, I did that because I want you to see the real me because you don't really know me. And she's like, I don't know you? Like, no. Yeah, no, you do know me, but just not my living situation. Dude always backtracked and just like, he didn't make any sense. And she was like, you're so confusing. And then she was like, why didn't you throw it away? But do you think I'm like doing it on purpose or something? Yeah, I think you are, dude. Because your whole thing is to throw other women in women's faces so they feel insecure. And she called it out. I'm taking it as you want me to see you as a fork boy that hooks up with people. And in the end, that is what he is. We learned that from the reunion. This dude cannot be alone. You know that from the whole season. He always talked about how he just doesn't want to be alone. He feels lonely, la 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 la. When they broke up after the wedding, after 2 or 3 days, he was going crazy. And she took a whole week to not talk to him because she doesn't need somebody in order to be at peace. That man needs somebody at all times, which is why he's probably at the bar all the time. So after all that, the constant talking about Johnny, the fight at the barbecue over Johnny, this fight here over Johnny. You know what? In the end, much as this dude talked crap about Johnny, he hooked up with her in the Jeep a week after she dumped him. 1 week. And then he's friends with Johnny. So he's friends with Johnny. He's friends with her. They were like, Stacey, did you know about this? She was like, yeah. He can do whatever he wants to do. I'm a cool girl. I'm unaffected by it. And then she was like, yeah, I wasn't shocked about that because apparently she'd been hearing that he's hooking up with a lot of people. Right after their breakup. Of course, he just moved on right away and didn't talk to her for a year. Houston bars, gotta love him for hookups. This is how he spends all his money, y'all. When I call him a hobosexual, I'm not being classist. What I'm saying is he will not buy, and he won't buy real plates. I think he's an addict. I think he has an alcohol problem. I'm gonna tell you why in a minute. But either way, this dude's a player, and he plays women against each other. After the reunion, he's already posting pictures with his new girlfriend. Look at the cool girl, Stacey. Says cuties. Look, this dude is obsessed with blonde white women. By the way, did y'all catch that Stacey called him exotic? I'm not a big fan of Stacey. I think you can learn a lot in terms of protecting yourself and your money from her. But I do think she fell victim to this dude's games of pitting women against each other. Because she's a cool girl, she fell right into that trap. And look, she's one of his bros. Look at her face. We're bros? Yep, dude, you are bros. That's my girl. She's like, yeah, I give him dating advice. Y'all, how brilliant is that? He avoided looking like the bad guy in every way possible and got those women hating each other. Right after he broke up with Johnny, he immediately met up with Stacey and was like, oh my God, so much drama. He's the drama, y'all. So like me and Johnny, he went into the whole thing. And he was so excited to tell her about it. Again, she tries to set a boundary. I'm just gonna stay out of it. And look at his response. I don't know, just like with you, it's just like so easy and effortless. Again, you do not want to be a man's piece. You don't want to be easy and effortless. Because she got easy and effortless. None of those foot rubs, none of those meals, no presents, no nothing. He did nothing for her. He was like, I'm not good enough for you, but here's the plunger. And he also got in her head early on that she didn't know how to be vulnerable. He's like, I don't have to worry about anything with you. Especially not finances. But he's lying about his own finances, of course. But it gets confusing with you because you're not vulnerable. With the other girls, I go a lot more deeper. He got it in her head that he's the vulnerable one. He's the emotionally intelligent one. And that her problem is that she's not vulnerable. I'd argue she's probably not as much as maybe she could be. She's the cool girl who has fun. But this man was never vulnerable. He just used his emotions to get out of having to be accountable to anything. He also talked about his ex. Like, she's a crazy gaslighter. Don't trust men who do that. Johnny owned her stuff. Talking about her ex. He did not, to make her insecure. He doesn't like vulnerability. When Johnny asked him about addiction and told him about her ex, he lost interest in her. They look like fools. He's getting tattoos with a new girl.